Good evening. My name is John Williams. I'm a fifth-generation county resident. I live in Ventura at 3829 Mound Avenue. I'm descended from the Clark family. You probably all know the little girl on the right. The boy pinning a badge on her vest is Billy Clark. This is the same pair a few years later, now both working at the State Department under President Ronald Reagan. Shirley Temple Black is Chief of Protocol. He is Assistant Secretary of State. Bill next became Reagan's National Security Advisor and Secretary of the Interior. These are his thoughts on City Memorial Park. As I understand it, at least 9 members of our pioneer family repose in Cemetery Park, including my great-grandfather Michael Hugh and great-grandparents Michael Hugh and Margaret Lynch Clark, as well as Michael's 2 siblings and their wives. I'm morally certain that the family required the sanctified earth in their headstone in the expectation of perpetual use and care. While you cannot erase the errors of the 1960s, recompense might include, number 1, marking the graves of the 3,000 plus buried within the pale, or at least constructing a memorial bearing their names and relevant dates. Retrieving the headstones and establishing a secure section of the cemetery for their display. Third, identifying the site of the cemetery with the appropriate signage. This ground is hallowed and should be treated accordingly. William P. Clark, California Supreme Court Justice, retired. I'd like to add a few marks of my own regarding the economics of this whole thing. Ventura itself did itself out of a great tourist attraction by doing away with the tombstones that tell the history of this area. I hope you're open to some creative thinking about this. There are tombstones all over Ventura that need to be retrieved. I believe most descendants would be happy to assist the city in their effort. And this is also the sort of endeavor that attracts grant money and donations to the city that would be tax deductible. The father of Ventura County, W.D. Hobson, his mother and his wife, Isabel, are buried in the cemetery. The Smith-Hobson Foundation, through Greg Smith, has already offered their help. Why not write a grant to the Wood-Clayson's Foundation? They have millions to award to deserving projects, and their money all derives from Green B. and Nancy Ann Donahoe Taylor of the Taylor Ranch on the western edge of town. Both Green B. and Nancy were buried in the city cemetery. Wouldn't it be a great publicity and a great tourist attraction for the city and the descendants working together to restore much of the cemetery as possible? In addition, as a contractor, there was a statement made earlier that said that the cost of these things would be $300 per if people came up and asked for them to be redone. That seems to me, I don't know whether it's high or low, but if you're going to do it individually, that's the most expensive way to do it. If you do all 3,000 at the same time, you considerably reduce the cost, whatever the individual cost is. Because I know from personal experience that doing 10 at a time or doing 100 at a time, you get economies of scale and it can be done a lot cheaper and with the same quality. Thank you very much.
John, thank you for your comments. Mr. Clark, followed by Elizabeth.
Okay, well, that was a little taste of 30 individuals coming into a city council meeting and speaking in public comments, voicing their opinions about their relatives being still interred in this park, and their very strong views that the park should be reverted back to a cemetery and that it's not being respectfully kept under the city's control. Now, another thing I need to make a point is this is a live call-in show tonight. So if you're out here watching the show and you have some points of view, give the studio a call. They're waiting for any kind of calls. It's 818-773-0654. And give us a jingle and we'll talk about this and try to answer some of your questions. But how difficult, Steve, was that to get to arrange that? Did you get a lot of flack from the city council to arrange that setup?
No, as a matter of fact, it was pretty easy because what the city, I find out at the end, was trying to do was trying to hurry us through the protocol in order to say, no, nothing's going to happen, and then to just get rid of us altogether.
Oh.
So we started way back in the Parks and Recreation Commission, working up to get agendized in front of the city council. And all of a sudden we picked up steam in the commission, and we got moved to the city council, and then we got showed the back door and said, goodbye, that's it.
Yes, I should mention that this tape runs about 2 hours, and there's 30 people testifying or to this hearing, and it was heartbreaking to hear all these people that have relatives there, and movers and shakers and pioneers of the city. I couldn't understand mayors, sheriffs. I mean, to treat that resource of ancestors like that is just amazing. And like I said, this really has to be looked into, possibly with the idea that people have to be indicted maybe, or rectified in some way. But so what is the problem with Ventura? Is there a problem in the government, or I mean, what is it? Why are they being able to do this?
Well, I think this just shows itself there's a problem with the city council. When you have Pioneer Cemetery that they refuse to even think about restoration or abiding by some of the state and federal laws, there's a serious problem. I believe that they're really afraid that if they give an inch, there'll be one lawsuit after another coming in, and it'll probably bankrupt the city.
Yeah, the litigiousness of society nowadays. I know that's a major thing with a lot of government entities.
So they are going to keep an iron grip on this cemetery. When I first initiated this, when I first heard about this, I had no idea that the city council and the city manager were so powerful in this town. They control everything. It's supposed to be a representative government, but what it is lip service to the representative government, and in the end, the council, the city manager get what they want, and the people that live in the town, we get nothing. We have to put up with the stuff that the council gets from the banks, from the developers. As far as living there, being a citizen, you don't have a say-so.
And you were telling me the elections are citywide. They don't have like council districts or anything like that.
That's what we're shooting for here in the very near future. Is we're going to try and get an initiative on the ballot to change the city charter.
I think we got one phone call here. Great. Hello. Welcome to California Kaleidoscope.
Hi, this is Summer McCoy, and I'm in Northridge. Actually, my cable just went out, and I can't see or hear you anymore, but I was watching the show, and I just wanted to call and make a statement. I'm involved in a group that does upkeep on graves with Medal of Honor winners. And when I moved to Southern California, I heard there was a Medal of Honor winner at the cemetery, and I went out there to check it. The man's name is Sumner, and not only is the grave not code as it applies to Medal of Honor winners, but the reality is that a dog had actually relieved itself on the man's tomb. Now, this man fought bravely to rescue a kidnapped child during an Indian raid, and we reward and honor him by allowing animals to defecate on his tombstone as well as all these other tombstones all around us. There were dogs everywhere. I just find that incredibly disgusting. I also wanted to say to Steve to keep up the good work. I've seen some of your stuff. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. That was a good phone call. Well, she's in the loop. She knows what's going on. I mean, that's one of the things that totally disgusted me was the fact that, not that there should be a change between civilians and veterans, but you know, veterans being treated this way, and like you were saying, there's federal codes for